Welcome back to Tracking That, a channel where we try to track what liberals are saying but end up not being able to as usual. This might have been the most hostile reporter Trump has encountered, apart from Jim Acosta, who is a professional interrupter, but this reporter asked Trump the longest, most disrespectful question I've ever seen, and it probably took her about 10 hours to create the question and rehearse it. But then he responded in a way, well, let's just say she probably regretted asking the question.
I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, sir. A lot of people did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today. You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabid to describe black district attorneys. You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking black supporters to vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question in such a horrible manner, first question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network. And I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit. I love the black population of this country. I've done so much for the black population of this country, including employment, including opportunity zones with Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, which is one of the greatest programs ever for black workers and black entrepreneurs. I've done so much, and and I say this, historically black colleges and universities were out of money, they were stone cold broke, and I saved them, and I gave them long-term financing, and nobody else was doing it. I think it's a very rude introduction. I don't know exactly why you would do something like that. And let me go a step further. I was invited here, and I was told my opponent, whether it was Biden or Kamala, I was told my opponent was going to be here. It turned out my opponent isn't here. You invited me under false pretense. And then you said, you can't do it with Zoom. Well, where's Zoom? She's going to do it with Zoom, and she's not coming. And then you were half an hour late. Just so we understand, I have too much respect for you to be late. They couldn't get their equipment working or something was wrong.
Mr. President, I would love if you can answer the question on your rhetoric and why you believe that black voters should trust you with another 4 years.
I have been the best president for the black population since Abraham Lincoln. That's my answer.
Better than President Johnson, who signed the Voting Rights Act?
And for you to start off a question and answer period, especially when you're 35 minutes late because you couldn't get your equipment to work, in such a hostile manner, I think it's a disgrace.
Let me just ask a follow-up, sir, and then we'll move on to other questions here.
He handled that with grace, like a champ, because it was such a race-baiting question, or should I say statement, but luckily Trump is used to dealing with professional victimization reporters. She said he didn't answer the question, but he explained what he did for the African-American community, unless I'm being a moron. But if you didn't think the reporter could get any nastier, well, she did, and she asked Trump if he thought Kamala Harris was a DEI hire. And his answer is exactly what this channel has been talking about for months. She was Indian, not African American.
Other questions here. Some of your own supporters, including Republicans on Capitol Hill, have labeled Vice President Kamala Harris, who is the first black and Asian American woman to serve as vice president and be on a major party ticket, as a DEI hire. Is that acceptable language to you? And will you tell those Republicans and those supporters to stop it?
How do you define DEI? Go ahead. How do you define
diversity, equity, inclusion?
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Is that what your definition?
That is
give me a
literally
definition
the words
then. Would you give me a definition
DEI.
of that? Give me a definition of that.
Sir, I'm asking you a question, a very direct question.
Define it for me if you would.
I just defined it, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a black woman?
Well, I can say no. I think it's maybe a little bit different. So I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly very much. And she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
She has always
But you know
identified
what?
as a black woman.
I
She went to a
respect either
historically black
one.
college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she became a black person.
Just to be clear, sir, do
And
you
I
believe that
think
she is
somebody should look into that too when you ask continue in a very hostile, nasty tone.
It's a direct question, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is a DEI hire, as some
I
Republicans
really don't
have
know.
said?
I mean, I really don't know. Could be. There are some, and there are.
I'll answer it for him. Yes, she is. Nobody liked her. She called Biden racist, was in single digits when she ran for president, dropped out because she was so bad, and then magically became the vice president. I don't know why Biden would pick someone who would call him racist. That makes zero sense to me. Oh, maybe because she was DEI and then he could get more votes to pander to the black and female community. This isn't a racist statement. It's a matter of fact. I'm sorry that this race-baiting reporter can't handle the truth. He then got asked if he thinks Kamala should get a cognitive test.
I suggested, Harris, that let's take one. I said, Joe and I will go and take a cognitive test. Now, I'd do it with her, too. I would do it with her also. You know what? She failed her law exam. She didn't pass her law exam, so maybe she wouldn't pass the cognitive test.
Mr. President, are you saying she wouldn't pass? Just to be clear,
I'm just giving you the facts.
She failed her law school bar exam back in 1989. He's right. That is a fact-check correct statement. I'm sure that's upsetting for a lot of people to hear, but sorry, not sorry.
Extensively, sir. I'd love to move over on to different
I didn't notice
topics
you
now.
do any publicity on it at all. I won the case, the biggest case. This is an attack on a political opponent. I have another one where
Sir,
I
if
have
you
a
don't mind, I'd
hostile
love
judge.
to. We have you for a limited time, sir. I'd love to move on to different
No,
topics.
excuse you.
if we
You're the
can.
one that held me up at 35 minutes, just so you understand.
This is what happens when you lose an argument as a journalist. You want to quickly move on to a different question and make the claim that you don't have time. Well, if that was true, she was 35 minutes late because they couldn't square their equipment away, and Trump wasn't going to let that slip by. This interview went on for like 40 minutes, so I could probably put the entire thing as a highlight because Trump did a phenomenal job at asking all these baiting questions, especially when he was asked about January 6th again. He was good at pivoting it towards the pro-Palestinian protesters that were at the White House and spray painted all the buildings. But this makes me look more and more forward to a Trump v. Kamala Harris debate. It'll be incredibly interesting. I mean, that's even if she's going to be the nominee. She's not even confirmed yet. But anyways, guys, that's all I have for today's video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.